Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of season 1, the season finale. My goodness, what a journey, what a time, what an experience. But let me start this right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moments Unplugged podcast. I am your host, Mandisa Singwane, and thank you so much for pressing play today. Today's conversation is very appropriate because I believe it's something I am currently practicing and doing. Not something I've figured out completely, but I mean, it's something we're all going to experience and learn together. Something I'm still grappling with, and I believe many of us are as well. And so today's conversation, as you've already seen from the title, is about taking a break, slowing down, and just taking it easy. But first of all, before we get started, I just want to take a moment to give myself the credits and give myself my own flowers. This podcast was a challenge and a half. I started it not knowing what the journey ahead would be like. It's had many ups and many downs. And some of the episodes fell into some very frustrating weeks and very busy weeks for me academically and leadership-wise. I just had so much going on in some of the weeks. And I really believe that I couldn't record, edit, and upload an episode. But I did. I really did. With a lot of consistency. Some of it really did take a lot out of me. Prepping the episodes within itself is quite a task. And making sure that I understand the message that I want to send through before I actually even sit down to record. So I'm going to give myself my flowers for actually showing up consistently and for doing it the best way possible for me, doing it to the best of my capabilities. Let me say it like that rather. Shout out to me. But this podcast was not only a promise that I made to myself, I made it to you guys, and so I couldn't dishonor it. Hence why I showed up week after week and did the best that I could. And I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for receiving my podcast with open hearts and open minds, and for engaging, for listening, and thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Podcast Sundays quickly became my favorite day of the week. I used to love Fridays. I really used to love Fridays. But Sundays just became different, and I could only attribute that to the podcast. And thank you for making this journey special for me. And so with that being said, I'm going to set the scene for you, and we're going to start today's podcast. Right now, I'm currently officially on recess. I had an incredibly busy semester from so my semesters always starts in the first week of Jan. I'll never get used to saying that. So I start my academic year first week of Jan. And so for me, it's always go from the minute we say Happy New Year. And so, my year started really fast. And I just had to get into the swing of things, leadership-wise, academic-wise. There were so many experiences, so many things to get done. I started the year with a load of things on my mind and things I dreamed of and things I wanted to accomplish. I think I'm happy to say, and I can comfortably say, that I've achieved a lot of it, and that I've overcome a lot of it, and shout out. But now it's just time to rest. It's time to just give myself the break that I deserve. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, hence the season finale. I didn't really know how many episodes would come out of this season, or, I didn't start it with that big of a plan. But I do know that now going into my recess, I don't really want to do a lot. And so that's why I'm going to finish the season right here. But I think it is appropriate. But there are quite a few things I need to figure out and change as far as the podcast is concerned. And so this does mean I go back into my planning and admin era. It's not the end. It will come back. I don't know when. It will. with more improvement and just me having a better understanding of where it's headed. And yeah, so let's get into this podcast about resting, giving yourself the time to just do nothing. I don't know how to make that sound more glamorous, but that's exactly what it is. Give yourself the time to just do nothing. Have an empty to-do list. I haven't opened my diary in more than 5 days, and let me tell you guys, that for me is huge, because on a daily basis, like I said, my year started in January, so I open my diary every single morning, have a to-do list. Maybe even the night before I would have set it, and then figure out how I'm going to do it on the day. But I'm that girl. I'm really that to-do list girl, diary, calendar, you name it. But I haven't looked at any of those stuff this past week, and it feels so good not to live like within a specific routine or with a number of things to get done or tick off. I like it. I really like it. And I know that when it's time to get back into it, I'll be energized because I actually gave myself off. You know what I mean? So yes, let's get into this podcast. Alrighty, and like I said, I haven't fully mastered this either, but we're going to all figure this out together as we've been doing, right? I know that in the past, I used to make a lot of excuses as to why I wasn't resting, and I just never used to understand the concept of rest. To me, sleep was enough rest. Like, why do you need more rest, right? It's like I work out during the day and then I sleep, and then I just get all my energy back and I'll do it all over again tomorrow. But I think now that I'm going to say grown a little more, I now understand why rest is necessary and why it just has to get done. Like, if you don't treat rest like a task, sometimes it just won't happen. And so until you know how to do it without it being a task, make it a task. Do you know what I mean? Make it a to-do list item, and then one day it will just come automatically where your body says, no, that rest thing we need to do, it needs to come now. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'll give you a list of excuses that I used to make. There's many more, but these are the ones at the top of my head. Particularly now in varsity, I would always say, I need to go home to rest. Being in res always forces me to study, which is true. For me, I always feel like when I'm at school on campus in res, I just go to lectures and then come back to res to just work. I've never been able to grapple with the idea of just chilling in res, you know, like Netflix and chill in res. I struggle with that so much. In my few years in varsity, I still can't get it right. But that's the excuse I always have when I'm at school. So when I do come home, that excuse is like not valid, doesn't work. I always also use the excuse time is money. If you know me, you really know time for me is really money. But that's another excuse I always use. I know that if I wanted to, I could fill up my time with a lot of things to do. But sometimes it's really not necessary. Some of those things are really not important. They're not priorities. I just choose to fill them up with tasks because I feel like I'm busy, you know? Yeah, guys, it's complex. And another excuse is if I don't do this now, it's going to be a bigger problem later, which is true for some things, but then it speaks to priorities and what is a bigger priority than other things, because you can slot in rest. Rest is just as important as some of your priorities. But it's an excuse nonetheless, you know what I mean? And there's many more, like I said, but these are honestly some of the excuses I use most often. And people that know me will tell you. So yeah. And so yes, for as long as I can remember, I've been someone who works really hard. My plate is always full, and I'm always doing millions of things all at once. Ultimately, I'm someone most people would call a workaholic. I'm using like quotes unquote for that. But according to me, it's not true. I don't really like that word. So yeah, I just like being busy, to be honest. And that's the only way I can put it. I don't know how to glamorize this. I don't know how to make it sound nice, but workaholic is not the one. I like having things to do, ticking things off my to-do list and just getting things done, right? But there comes a time where I just need to park everything and rest, allow myself to fill my own cup, and then start again once I've recovered. And that's what I believe rest and taking a break is all about. It's just allowing yourself to just stop. The resting season is just as important as the working hard season, the in your bag era, the go-getting season, etc., etc. Another thing about resting and taking a break, it gives you a time to pause, to reevaluate everything, to make changes when necessary, to plan and prepare to execute as best as you can when you do come back. Rest is not a waste of time. And I know that might be necessary for me to say to liberate many people, myself included. It took me a while to grapple with that, but I'm going to say it again. Rest is not a waste of time. If anything, it's more beneficial than it is negative. You'll thank yourself later for resting. I do believe that in order to understand what rest is, you also need to be intentional about it and not so much just make it something that has to get done, but something you also appreciate and acknowledge for yourself to be important. It's not something people can force on you. It's not something people can tell you to do. It's something that has to come within you and something you have to be intentional about and just get it done for yourself. Because it's not for anyone else but for you, your own body, your own mind, your own heart. And in essence, everything else within your life will actually fall through from that, and everything will benefit from that rest that you do take intentionally. So I think it's also really important for us to bear in mind and understand that resting doesn't look the same for everyone. For some people, it's sleeping in every day, all day. For some, it's being outside in nature, hiking, running, jogging, whatever the case may be, taking walks. For others, it's catching up with family, loved ones, with your tribe, your friends. For others, it's catching up on all your favorite movies, series that you've been missing out on because of things that have to get done. For some, it's everything, all of the above, and for some, it's many other things. But these are the ones at the top of my head, and some of which resonate with me. I'll allow you guys to guess. But honestly, your resting season doesn't have to look anything like your friend's resting season. It just has to be personal to you, and you have to make sure that it energizes you, it serves you, it is for your benefit. Because unfortunately, we can't just box everyone into a category and say, just sleep for 10 hours every day and you'll be fine. No. Find what works for you and roll with it. It might change. It really might change with the different seasons within your own life, but just always be conscious and intentional about finding it and using that to rest as often as you can. Moreover, if you're a person who's currently having trouble with allowing yourself to rest or finding good reasons to rest, let me give you some. Remember that we've been through 6 full months of 2024. Remember all that you've done from the very moment this year started on the 1st of January 2024 until this very day, which is the 16th of June 2024. Remember that we still have 6 full months ahead of us and so much still needs to get done. I'm pretty sure you still have a wish list, not a wish list, what is it called again? Not a vision board. You still have a list of goals and a vision board that have things that you still would like to accomplish and achieve. And fortunately for you, these need the best version of you as possible, which means you need to rest. Burnout is really not fun. Listen, hear it from me. Burnout is really not fun, and when it gets you, it gets you. And when it gets you, there's no negotiation. You don't negotiate with burnout. Burnout just does its thing, and you just have to go with the flow of burnout, unfortunately. And we all know that prevention is better than cure in that case. So prevent burnout. Love yourself. Give yourself some time to just chill and do nothing if that's what you love doing. It's important. I don't know how to emphasize this even more. It's just really important. And I only figured this out really recently. And I really wish I heard it earlier. And so that's why I'm the person that's going to say it to you earlier, hopefully. Rest. Give yourself a break. Take the time out. You deserve it. Nobody else is going to do it for you. Only you can do this for yourself. And you are going to thank yourself later on. Please. And thank you. Alrighty, and so today's episode is really short and sweet, and I really hope you were able to grab a message or two. And I really hope that message is rest. But as I was doing my prep, I found a really nice quote that resonated with me. And this quote is by Jennifer Williamson, and it goes something like this. Real rest feels like every cell is thanking you for taking care of you. It's calm, not full of checklists and chores. It's simple, not multitasking, not fixing broken things. Love that. But yeah, that's the end of the season. Like I said in the beginning, thank you so much for riding with me, for listening, for always tuning in, and for engaging. I really hope you have an amazing and productive week. Can't wait to see you in season 2. And yes, happy Youth Day for my fellow South Africans. Have a great day, and thank you so much for listening. We will check in soon. Bye, guys.